Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is September 16th, and the subject of this interviews people with passion will be depression. I had a lot of requests to talk about depression, which is a problem, one of the five major problems that humanity is facing right now. Every 10th person is experiencing depression. Among symptoms of depression, we can name long-lasting sadness, feeling that there is no hope, there is constant irritability, extremely high and low moods, experiencing eating and sleeping disorders, social withdrawal. And for that, I invited super professional Dr. Judy Rosenberg. Dr. Judy Rosenberg, she is the founder of the Healing Center, Psychological Healing Center, author of the numerous books on how to heal. And we're going to talk with her about depression. And inviting her in. Don't hesitate to send the questions, comments. Good evening,
Hello.
Dr. Judy Rosenberg. Good to see you.
I was going to start getting depressed if I didn't get on.
No, we're going to heal you.
Okay.
So I had numerous requests to talk about depression.
Okay.
I think it's like among problems,
okay.
problems number one of the humanity right now.
I know.
What is depression? Is it a mental illness, or it's a state of mind, or it's someone who has no maybe interior will, who just has been capricious and saying like, oh, I don't want that, I don't want that. What is really depression is?
Oh, okay. So there's so many different, depression is such a generic term. Of course, if you lose a loved one, you get depressed. If you're in a pandemic and you can't get out of the house, you get depressed. If you've been abused as a child and you're constantly being triggered by life, you go into a spiral of depression. So let's talk about it from the point of view of what's going on today, because we are in a pandemic. We also happen to be in a crisis, really a national crisis. And so I want to refer to somebody that I studied back in my days at UCLA called Martin Seligman, and he talked about learned helplessness. So let's start there, because really helplessness is what leads to depression. So he did an experiment with animals, and if I recall correctly, no matter what the animal did, the animal got electric shock. Okay, so if it hit the red button, it got an electric shock. If it hit the blue button, it got an electric shock. No matter what the animal did, it got a shock. So in a sense, we're in the same situation, in a very general sense. No matter what we do, we feel in general a sense of helplessness. What are we going to do about the pandemic? We're helpless. What are we going to do about social upheaval? We're helpless. So when we don't have a way out, then it checkmates us, and our emotions have no place to go. So we lose our agency. We are no longer the cause. We're at the effect of. So that's one way that I see depression, is no way out. And that's why when you talk about prison, right, if you're in a psychological prison, or if you're in a physical prison, you're going to feel depressed because there's no way out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are the signs of depression?
See, the opposite of depression is having emotion flow. So if you're crying, you're having an emotion. Right? If you're laughing, you're having an emotion. If you're sad, you're having an emotion. But depression is a state. It's a state of
stagnation.
Right. So typical signs of depression from a clinical point of view, if I'm checking for depression in a patient, I'll ask them things like, are you sleeping okay? Are you sleeping more? Are you sleeping less? Are you eating? Are you gaining weight? Are you losing weight? Are you enjoying the things in life that you usually enjoy, like a conversation with your family? Are you obviously, are you suicidal? That would be a question that I would ask a patient to assess for suicidal depression. So you want to see what changes are occurring in the patient's life to assess for depression. And you want to go right for clear vital signs: sleeping, eating, sex. Is your sex life decreasing? That's a sign of depression. Are you closing down? Are you no longer wanting to speak to people? That's a sign of depression. Uh, are you losing the ability to look in the mirror and groom yourself properly? Is your hair all tangled up and your clothes are not kept properly? Is your home a big, big mess and you have no energy? I also want to go over a couple of more symptoms. For example, you know you're in a depression when the little things are very, very hard to do.
No desire to do whatsoever, to get out of the bed.
Pardon me?
To get out of the bed, this
Get
kind
out of bed, hard to do. Go to the post office, mail a package, very hard to do. Feed yourself, very hard to do. Sit with your children and do homework, very hard to do.
So there is no energy, no motivation.
No motivation, no energy. It's a state. It's not a mood, it's a state. And it's not an emotion, it's a stuck state.
Wow. Is anyone at any age can be having it? Can children of 5 years old be depressed?
Yes, and sometimes depression shows up differently in men than it does in women. And for example, women tend to have those symptoms that I'm talking about. Men might get particularly angry. Okay, so it's like an agitated depression. Let's say a man loses his job and it's such a vital force for the family to have him working. So he might be in that state of helplessness. So he might react by having a fit of anger. So what would he do? Let's talk a little bit about how depression is related to defense mechanisms. And for those of you who don't know me, I have a mind map system. It's called the Be the Cause mind map system. And let's see if I can lay it out here because people can see it here. I'll show everyone right there. Can you see that? Okay, so that's my mind map for healing. And if you look at the mind map, you will see in the middle are a bunch of big balls. See those big balls in the center of my mind map? They represent defense mechanisms. And so when our emotions are not healthy, when we're not in a good place, we will try to defend ourselves. So we might smoke more, we might drink more, we might eat more, we might...
So that will be defense mechanism.
Correct. Defense against depression. So that's another way you could tell somebody's depressed is they're trying to fight their way out of the depression by sparking.
By withdrawing somehow, right? Withdrawing yourself. If it's
withdraw yourself.
I'm not there. Closing my eyes, I'm not there. I don't want to see that. Right?
Exactly. I don't want to be there. I'm not there. I will just wall off. I will become really impenetrable emotionally. And so the outcome of depression oftentimes is that we defend. And then we use defense mechanisms that throw us deeper into the hole. So let's say you're smoking to get a little bit of nicotine, a little bit of a spark, right? But the next thing, boom, you're crashing down. Let's say you're eating, a little spark, up, boom, then the sugar level drops. Little coffee, up, boom, down. Let's say you're on the computer and you're playing games, but after a while, it's not working anymore because you're getting exhausted.
Right. It's like if you have problem with your back on the right side, then your left side is going to compensate. So if you're going to take something inside that it's not healthy, not good for you in order to escape, then you're going to pay anyway somehow.
You pay by you defend, and then it doesn't work, and then at the end you break down.
Right, right.
Right?
Does kids can be depressed now?
Absolutely, absolutely. I call childhood a hostage situation. For the good or the bad of it, you don't know what parents you're going to end up with. Some parents are lovely; they offer unconditional love and support, and they offer the child a nurturing space to grow. And this is all based on attachment theory. John Bowlby talks about when a child is securely attached to a parent, they have a strong, strong sense of self. It's like a strong inner core. But if they don't have that strong inner core, then they are subject to being triggered by life, easily triggered. So if a teacher looks at them wrong, they might be triggered by negative core beliefs that are caused by parental messages like, oh, little Johnny, you're stupid. So the teacher looks at them in a bad way, and then boom, depression. Oh, I'm stupid. Oh, I'm a failure. Oh, I'm ugly. So
No one needs me. No one loves me.
no one loves me. Right. That's a big one. And
That's
so,
the core of everything, right? Even for adults.
yes, it's a very core negative belief that many, many people hold about themselves. And where does it come from? The blueprint. Because if your parents are ignoring you, or they're abusing you, or they're trying to control you, or they're using you as their little husband or little wife. I have many cases where let's say a man gets married to a woman, and suddenly she feels that the mother-in-law is in competition with her. Okay. And then we discover that her husband and the mother are enmeshed. They're very, very tied together.
Oh my.
And so then we
There
discover
is no
that,
space for wife.
yeah, that the mother's the wife. And the husband, and her husband is her little husband. So
Right.
there's a competition. So how does depression play into this? Is that when he's loyal to the wife, he feels that he's betraying his mother. When he's loyal to the mother, he feels that he's betraying his wife. And so you see the rock and the hard spot situation?
Yeah.
Go back to learned helplessness.
Let's talk about positive side. How to get out of this depression.
Okay.
What
Okay,
is the way?
okay, so some general ways. I'm going to go general, and then I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Okay, so in a general way, you know the rap, yoga, any kind of exercise, self-care, good nutrition, making sure that your diet is pretty clean so that you're not bouncing up and down. These are ways to control the chemical effects of depression on the body. Now,
I heard one of the most important things is about to do while you're depressed is your surrounding. If you have people who are bringing you down, try not to see them unless you feel that you're much stronger in your positive vibe, so you can help them. But if you're in depression mood, definitely no go for people.
You've got a great point there. There are toxic people that sometimes we allow into our lives. And why do we allow it? Now I'm going to go on to the deeper level. So from a psychoanalytic point, depression is anger turned inward. Anger turned inward. So if you cannot express your anger to your mom, if you cannot express your anger as a child to your dad, or even as an adult, if you can't express your anger toward your husband or your friend, your so-called friend that is seething with envy, and it's just so obvious that she doesn't want you to succeed, right? You can't express that. So what many people do is they swallow it.
Oh.
So it goes
Pressure.
Right? It's like, yes, it's like you're pushing it
Compound.
down. Right. So where does this come from? Again, go back to the blueprint. We have usually a mother, a father, a primary caregiver. Some of us grow up without a mother or a father, or sometimes both. So those messages and the secure or lack of secure attachment that we have early in life is forming our core ability to stabilize our emotions, our core ability to see ourselves in a developmental sense, to grow into the best of our best. Now,
Right.
if you've been compromised, again, sexual, physical, verbal abuse, neglect, and smothering, right? We don't have a chance. We're just shadowed over. We're struggling to be free. We're struggling to,
Right.
right? We just want to breathe a little air, and then comes along dad and slaps us, or mom tells us we're stupid, or we're neglected because we show off our beautiful
Deserve love.
art. You know, don't bother me. I can't be bothered with this nonsense. So there goes the self-esteem, right? And there goes all the encoding. I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. I'm unlovable. I'm not worthy. I'm useless. I'll never be loved, and so on. And this is what we work with at the Psychological Healing Center. We want to know how the blueprint created all this garbage thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And clean it
But
up.
what would you suggest to do for people who's not on such a deep state of depression when they cannot get out of it by themselves?
Okay.
So
Great.
what you can do, what there will be first exercise or advice that you will give someone who kind of like understand themselves and they feel that they about to go into this kind of mood and state. What
Okay.
will be the first thing to do? What would you suggest?
I would say that it's really, really important to understand that we are animals. And if we don't eat right and we don't exercise and we don't take care of ourselves, we're going to go down. So our first responsibility is self-care. So if you get up in the morning and you're feeling kind of depressed, the sleep is a very vulnerable state. And so when we're getting out of the state of sleep, we are more vulnerable. So sometimes we have to fight. Sometimes we have to just get up and drink our carrot juice and go get out of bed and do some stretching. Even if you don't do a full workout, do some stretching and be the cause. You have to be the cause. So if you lie there, you know, like a dead fish in your bed, it's going to get worse, right? And then the thoughts are going to keep spiraling. So sometimes you just have to fight the fight and get up and take a shower. I think simple things like making the bed makes a person feel like they have agency and control. So you start controlling the little things in your life. You don't have to say, I'm going to control the pandemic or the coronavirus. I'm going to control the social unrest. No, we cannot control those things. But what we can do is we can control our body. We can control the food we take in. We can control
little actions, right? Little actions that we can make to perfection and be already kind of proud of ourselves that we
right, exactly.
Some positive.
Right, positive action, and then maybe plan the day. And so at the end of the day, you can go back and say, wow, I did a radio show with Tatiana, or, you know, I made my bed this morning, or I woke up in time to do a 20-minute workout, or I reorganized my bedroom and made the closet so neat. So
I heard about that. When you were organizing the closet, you kind of organizing your mind. You putting
yes.
the most important things on the treeing the thing.
Yeah, so I think agency, action, taking action in the process.
Depression, it's stagnation. So we're fighting it with movement, right? We're doing as much movement, as much desires, as much as like maybe intellectual curiosity, this kind of things, just to make movement move.
Just to make movement, right. And don't compete against other people. Do compete against yourself. So if you did a 5-minute workout yesterday, maybe try 6 minutes.
Fantastic.
If you did a beautiful meal of steamed vegetables and fish and so on, and then you had a pizza pie afterwards, okay, so then try for the meal and maybe 1 slice of pizza. So agency, where you see that you're shaping your world. We all want to be shaping our world. We don't want to just fall to the discretion of the world. agency, causality.
Right, right. And I heard it's extremely important what kind of music you're listening, what kind of voices, because sound is what we're taking in our ears is extremely important as well. So if you will be listening
Yeah,
some kind of heavy music or depressing, crying songs, it's just going to bring you more down instead of some Vivaldi or Verdi who can put more positive and energetical music in you.
yes, and so that's part of our five senses. If we smell lavender oil, it's going to have a certain mood enhancer. If we're drinking Coca-Cola, it's going to be the opposite. I talk a lot about encoding in the process of the mind map therapy. And encoding could be good or bad. We could have encoding like what I mentioned, encode that you're stupid, encode with Coca-Cola and pizza and fried foods and horrible friendships and so on. And okay, so what's going to happen if we let all this stuff into our system is we're going to get sick. Okay, well, we put good boundaries and we keep out the bad, we keep out the toxic food, the toxic smells as much as we can. And Los Angeles right now, with the air the way it is, if we keep out the toxicity and monitor as much as we can, then we stay more in the health zone. And I want to address one more thing, which you brought up, toxic people. Watch your energy, everybody, when you are in a toxic relationship, a friendship, a marriage, any kind of relationship. We are animals. We're going to soak in the energy. And when these people are infecting us with their, I'll call it narcissism, just because I do a lot of work with narcissists. How do you know you're in the presence of a narcissist? Because you're going to feel tired and depressed and used.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to question your sanity. You're going to feel hopeless. Again, you're going to feel that no matter what you do, no matter how pretty you are, it's not pretty enough. No matter how smart you are, it's going to be turned against you. No matter how much money you make, it's not enough. Okay, so it goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning. Helplessness, when you're in a friendship that brings you no light.
And in that case, depression is opposed to you, right? It's not something that you came to, but it's something that was opposed on you from someone. You come to this stage when you're withdrawing yourself from the reality.
It's coming at you. Again, if you were raised with parents who were loving and nurturing, then you wouldn't necessarily allow these people in. You would have a better system of vetting them and saying somewhere inside of yourself, no, I don't think so. That's not for me. No, I'm not going to allow this person to treat me like this. I have too much self-esteem, too much dignity. So this is another drain on energy. People, right? Mm-hmm. Electronics, that's a huge drain. All day on the cell phone, all day on the computer.
Yeah.
Watching the screen all day, you know, they emit rays. I wonder what effect this is having in a long-term sense.
Right.
Right?
Dr. Rosenberg, thank you so much. That was extremely helpful. I think
my pleasure.
If any of our viewers would like to approach you, send you email consultation, you help. I have no doubt about it.
Absolutely. I offer a free consultation and also a copy of my PDF book. Here, let me hold it up so you can see it. This is free PDF form. Be the cause, healing human disconnect. Just write me.
All problems coming from childhood.
I'll send you an email of the book, the PDF. You can share it on Facebook. Dr. Judy, DRJUDY, psychologicalhealingcenter.com.
Super. Thank you so much for your wisdom. So wonderful.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Okay, bye.
My dear friends, don't hesitate to reach out to Dr. Judy Rosenberg. She's an extremely high professional. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe. Stay away from negative and toxic people. Love, peace, and equanimity.